Hello and welcome back. Today we have Marvel Legends series Red Hulk from the new Captain America Brave New World from Marvel Studios. This is one of the Marvel Legends range, Red Hulk based on as he appeared in the film. It comes pretty much in the deluxe standard packaging we've come to expect. It's a navy blue colour rather than a standard black, but it's a window box packaging with blister packaging for our figure inside. If you've seen my other videos, you know how I feel about the blister packaging, but that's by the by. Captain America Brave New World Red Hulk. We get sort of the Captain America design here, which is quite similar to his Cap's costume, I guess, or at least it's inspired by, I think. Warning: small parts not for children under 3, 4+, Hasbro. On the side we get a picture of Red Hulk looking angry and fierce. On the back, Red Hulk, we get a full profile of the Red Hulk there. Marvel Legends series, we get a brief bio. A monster of Samuel Stern's making, Red Hulk is an incredibly strong and formidable foe. His skin radiates intense heat, burning everything he touches. That I feel gives too much of the film away. We already, I'm not going to talk too much about the film, but Red Hulk himself was heavily advertised in the film, but the underlying villain was pretty much kept hidden in trailers. I mean, it was public knowledge everywhere else, such as this here, but yeah, so that is what it is. On the side we get the image again. Top is blank, underneath is all of our legal. So without further ado, let's get this open and out of the packaging. So let's slice that open. Get our Red Hulk out. The inlay is the redesigned Captain America logo with blue sky and clouds behind it. That's a nice touch. I quite like that image. We got our Red Hulk. This is a really weighty figure. Oh, and the head. Okay, so here we have our headless Red Hulk, and let's see if we can get him stood up. There we go, that'll do. So I think before we move on to the figure himself, let's touch on the figure, the head and the head sculpt. Here we have quite an angry looking version, and then a more calm and neutral expression. They almost look like two completely different heads. They don't look like the same person, at least in my opinion. The face looks narrower here than it does here. I know it's an angry expression, so his face is going to be a little more, but equally it does end up feeling like two completely different characters. Now, talking of heads and likenesses, I know I'm not the only one who feels that this doesn't have a particular resemblance to Harrison Ford, who plays the Red Hulk in the film. And I'm going to say that the packaging as well doesn't have a particular likeness to Harrison Ford. Now, if you saw my video on Electro, you know I had similar comments on the Jamie Foxx figure, or Jamie Foxx likeness. I'm So I don't know. I don't know if this is a rights issue again, or if Harrison Ford just wasn't available. It does seem strange because Hasbro have the license to Star Wars toys with their Black Series and their vintage figures, and they do Han Solo character figures in that, many of which have a really good likeness to Harrison Ford. We have the Indiana Jones collections as well, again with good likenesses to Harrison Ford. So I don't know if it's a case that this time Harrison wouldn't sign over the likeness, or maybe he wanted too much money for the likeness for the Marvel lines. And I'm assuming it's a legal issue that you can't just take the likeness from, you know, Star Wars and use it for Marvel and vice versa. And I know everyone's saying, oh, they're owned by Disney, and you know, Hasbro have the rights, etc., etc., etc. But while I'm no expert on the legal matters, I know these contracts are incredibly complex and go down to the minutest detail. So it wouldn't surprise me to learn that rights mean that they couldn't just take a head sculpt from Star Wars and use it for Marvel or vice versa or whatever. And given that, you know, this isn't a particular good Harrison Ford likeness, nor is this, I do potentially think that, again, there's a rights issue behind why the sculpts aren't that great. I will note that I have seen other products like popcorn buckets and things where the likeness is a lot closer and there's a really decent likeness. So I'm not going to pretend to know the full ins and out, but I do suspect that the reason for the poorer likeness here is definitely something to do with rights and costs. But anyway, without further ado, let's move to looking at our Red Hulk. So as you've seen, as I try to get it out of the packaging, it is literally on a ball joint, and the head just pops off and pops back on, depending on which figure you want. Given it's a Hulk, and given it is Red Hulk, I think most people will be using the angry expression. As for the figure itself, it's cast throughout in red plastic, except for the shorts, which are done in a black plastic. But down here, we do have a slight boot cut, but again, that's the same color plastic mold, so all of the red lines up and matches nicely throughout. There isn't any discrepancies there. We get some nice muscular tones throughout. We've gotten the faces. While, you know, I've said my piece about the two likenesses here in Harrison Ford, I do like the head sculpt. There's especially this angry one. There's some real nice washes and shadings throughout, which really bring out all of the features in the face. I'll just see if I can get a better look there so you can see for yourself. We get some painted on chest hair, which goes under the ab crunch, which is a nice touch. I've just realized that, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but there is a slight star-shaped form to the chest hair. I don't know if that's intentional or if not, but it kind of makes it look a bit like a Captain America star. Sorry, the head just keeps wanting to pop off, and I think it's due to the muscles here. Other than that, there's some molded detail on the trousers, which is nice. I think I would have liked to have seen some rips or something along this. I can't quite remember what the final look like was in the film, but being a Hulk, having the rips would have been nicer, especially if you look at the artwork here. The trousers are frayed at the bottom, so would have maybe been nice if some of the mould could have come down over the boot cut and given a bit of a frayed look, but again, I am assuming that would have come down to costs and everything else. I've just noticed the abs do have a slightly different paint app applied over the red to give some extra definition, which is a nice touch. As for articulation, we've seen it's on a ball joint. The ball joint could do with coming up a bit, and it doesn't. While it does fit in, it doesn't go quite as deep as maybe it could do. As a result, depending where you have the head, it can push it up and pop it off easily enough, but it's nothing too much of an aggro. You get the full articulation, you get a range of movement there of up and down, side to side. You can get some nice poses there with the head. Arms come out. These are really, really tight joints, and you get a full 360 there. Depending where they're on, obviously a ball joint and swivel, so depending where they are, you can get them posed up nice. You get bicep swivel, double hinge at the elbows, but because of the muscle molds, it will only go up so far. Wrists are on the swivel joints and will just pop off and allow for change there. And you get some nice range of movement there. We get the, and there goes the head again. We get the ab crunch there, so you can get it going down and back. There's a full rotation, and it is on a ratchet joint at the waist, so you can hear that clicking. Legs are on ball joint hinges. They go out that far due to the cut of the trousers. Calf swivel, double hinge at the knees. There is a slight boot cut, but not much. It will slightly turn, but nothing else. I think the mould and the way it rubs against each other prohibits it from turning any further. Rotations at the foot. However, due to the mould, you're not going to get that much range of movement up and down. Let's grab. Well, let's bring. There we go. Let's bring the head back. So, yeah. Overall, I like the figure. I do have the complaint of the neck joint not being long enough to fully hold the head. It becomes a little too easy to pop off. I've said my piece about the likeness. However, whether it looks like Harrison Ford or not, I really do like the sculpt of the face. My only point is that I do feel that the neutral face looks a little narrower throughout the sculpt, and it almost looks like two different people, almost more like brothers than the same head sculpt. But that's neither here nor there. I'm going to be displaying it with the angry one, so that doesn't matter for me. Range of movement I'm really happy with. Really tight joints here, which is given the size of the figure and given its weight, this is a heavy figure. For a Marvel Legends, for the £35 price point, and yeah, for those points, it is a really heavy figure. I expected it to be even, given that I've held the box and had it, and I expected this to be a lot lighter of a figure, but it does. It feels like solid plastic throughout. especially in the legs. Not sure. I think the body's hollow, but it's still a thicker, harder plastic than I was expecting, which is good because hopefully it'll then hold up some more. It'll help with weight and joints not giving out. Joints are really tight, clean. Paint apps are nice. I've said, you know, in terms, while I would have maybe liked some extra moulding down here, in terms of the paint apps themselves, I couldn't have asked for anything else on this figure. The red is really deep and bloodlight, but also quite like a fire. You know, it feels like he'd be hot to touch. And the more I look at it, the more I see that there is some slight layering throughout the figure to give some real detail to this, which is not something I was expecting. So yeah, I'm really happy to have this in the collection. I really like it. It feels like a deluxe figure at a deluxe figure price point as well. So yeah, it's everything I could have wanted from this figure, and I'm really glad to add it to the collection. Let me know what you think in the comments. Otherwise, stay safe, and I will be back soon.